I pulled the trigger on my brother's life with a single phone call. Not a bullet. But it felt just as final, watching his empire crumble from my midtown high-rise as sirens wailed below like the city's mocking laughter. He'd always been the golden boy. The one mom pinned her dreams on while I scraped by in the shadows. But that night, I whispered his secrets to the feds. And the man who raised me as his own turned out to be the monster who'd sold me out twice over. What I didn't expect, the rush of freedom tasted like ash. Because revenge doesn't erase the blood you share, it just stains your hands a deeper red. The rain hammered the penthouse windows like it was trying to drown out the ghosts in my head. But nothing could wash away the memory of that humid August afternoon 3 years back, when Ethan, my big brother, the slick-talking Wall Street wolf, flashed that boyish grin and begged to borrow my car. Just for the weekend. Viv. Heading up to the Hamptons for a quick deal. You know how it is, impress the clients. Seal the fate. I should have said no. Hell, I should have laughed in his face. But blood's thicker than ink on a contract. Right? And back then, I was still playing the good little sister. The one who'd bailed him out of every jam since we were kids dodging Dad's belt in that cramped Queens walk-up. I'd just landed the VP gig at Sterling Dynamics, a mid-tier auto importer with dreams bigger than its budget. The car? A prototype hybrid SUV. Matte black beast with tech that could make Tesla blush, self-driving AI, solar panels that charged on the fly, and a price tag north of $200,000 if it hit production. Company asset. My ass, it was my baby. The one I'd sweet-talked the board into letting me test drive as a perk. Ethan knew that. Or, at least, he should have. But brothers like mine? They see opportunity in family, not obligation. I handed over the keys in the garage under our building. The kind with valet service for the 1%ers who could afford the rent. Don't scratch it, Ethan. This isn't some Uber. It's my ticket to the corner office. He clapped me on the shoulder, that easy charm masking the predator gleam in his eye. Relax, sis. I'll treat her like royalty. Famous last words. By Monday, the car was gone, poof. Vanished from the Hamptons valet lot like a bad magic trick. And Ethan? Radio silence. Calls went to voicemail. Texts bounced back unread. Panic set in by Tuesday, when my boss, Harlan, started sniffing around. Vivian, where's the prototype? We've got demos lined up with the venture cats from Silicon Valley. I covered for him. Lied through my teeth about a minor fender bender and logistics delay. Bought us time with fabricated emails and a bullshit story about customs holdups. Why? Because Ethan's text finally pinged Wednesday night. In deep shit. Viv. Oh, the wrong people. Sold the ride to square up. Don't freak, I'll get you another. Sold it. My company asset. My career lifeline. Pawned off like yesterday's trash to cover his gambling debts. The Sharks. He called them some shadowy crew out of Atlantic City. Lone sharks with ties to the moblite families that still whispered in Jersey backrooms. I stared at that message till the screen blurred, rage coiling in my gut like a spring about to snap. But that was just the appetizer. The real gut punch came when the feds showed up 6 months later. Badges flashing in the Sterling lobby like they owned the place. Ethan had flipped the script again, framed me as the inside woman, the exec who'd laundered the prototype through fake sales to pad her bonuses. Emails I'd never sent, ledgers doctored with my digital signature. Even a witness, some stripper from his bachelor party days, who swore she'd seen me haggling with the buyers in a dimly lit Jersey diner. It was poetry. Really, the brother I'd shielded from Dad's rages. The one I'd loaned my first paycheck to after college, so he could chase his broker dreams. He'd buried me to save his skin. And the board? They suspended me pending investigation. Harlan's eyes cold as he escorted me out with a cardboard box of my desk junk. I fought it. Hired a shark of my own, a pitbull attorney from the Bronx who smelled blood in the water. We traced the breadcrumbs. The car's been popped up in a chop shop in Newark, reassembled, and flipped to a Saudi prince's shell company for a cool $250,000. But Ethan's prints were everywhere. Wire transfers to his offshore account, texts to his bookie bragging about the easy score. The feds leaned on him. But he lawyered up faster than a fox in a henhouse, spinning tales of coercion, of me pressuring him into the deal for a cut of the action. Family sticks together, he'd say in depositions. That grin plastered on like war paint. The case dragged, prosecutors wary of touching a Wall Street darling with connections to senators and hedge fund titans. Through it all, I rebuilt. Quietly. Started freelancing as a consultant for EV startups in Brooklyn, crashing on a cousin's couch in Bed-Stuy while the lawyers bled me dry. Nights blurred into codeine-fueled hazes, scrolling Ethan's LinkedIn glow-up, promotions at Goldman, yacht pics from the Sound, that perfect wife he'd married right after the scandal broke like nothing had touched him. Mom called weekly, her voice a Brooklyn rasp laced with guilt. He's your brother, Vivian. Blood don't lie. But blood lies every damn day. It's why we have courts. The hook that snagged me back? A tip from an old Sterling intern. Now a gumshoe PI with a grudge against the elite. Your brother's dirty, Viv. Not just the car, the crash. The crash. 8 years prior. The one that killed our cousin Mikey on the lie. DUI pinned on me because I'd been the designated driver that night, sober as a judge. I'd taken the plea, misdemeanor, community service to shield Ethan, who'd pounded 3 whiskeys and popped Vicodin like candy after a bad trade. He'd sworn sobriety after. Hugged me in the courtroom with tears in his eyes. I owe you forever. Sis. Lies. The PI had dashcam footage, scrubbed from evidence by Ethan's first big law fix. Ethan behind the wheel, swerving like a demon. Mikey in the passenger seat begging him to pull over. That secret? It was the chink in his armor. The buried bomb I'd never detonated. But now, with a car scam unraveling his finances, sharks circling closer, his bonuses slashed by SEC whispers, I saw my opening. Revenge isn't a sprint, it's a marathon with landmines. I started small. Anonymous leaks to his firm's compliance hotline, whispers of insider trading tied to those same offshore wires. Watched from afar as HR audits piled up, his Instagram feed going dark. He called once, voice cracking over the line from a burner. Viv, whatever you're doing, stop. We're family. I laughed, low and bitter. Family? You sold my future for a poker buy-in, Ethan. Now I'm collecting the debt. By spring, he was unraveling. Divorcing the wife, he confessed the Mikey cover-up in a pill-fueled rant. She said. Downgraded to a studio in Hell's Kitchen, the kind with roaches that pay rent. I played the long game, feeding the PI scraps, Ethan's shark contacts. Their muscle showing up at his door with baseball bats wrapped in barbed wire. No bruises shown, just shadows and surveillance stills. But the fear? It aged him a decade in months. Mom begged me to visit, her Parkinson's tremors shaking the phone. He's sorry. Vivian. Come home. Home. That word tasted like rust. The climax brewed in July. Heat wave turning the city into a pressure cooker. Ethan cornered me outside my new gig, a sleek loft office in Soho for a green tech venture, rain starting as he grabbed my arm. Eyes wild under the brim of a fedora he'd probably hawked his watch for. I know it's you. The leaks. The PI, Jesus. Viv. You think this makes us even? Water streamed down his face, mixing with sweat, the neon from a dive bar painting him demonic. I yanked free, heart pounding like a war drum. Even? You killed Mikey and hung it on me. Sold my career to save your ass. There's no even, just payback. He lunged then, not with fists but words, spilling the twist I'd half suspected. Mom knew. All of it. The crash cover-up? Her idea. To protect her golden boy from juvie. From becoming like Dad, a drunk raging against the system. She'd coached me through the plea, tears in her eyes as she whispered. For the family, Vivian. Sacrifice makes us strong. Sacrifice. The word curdled in my throat. Ethan sobbed, collapsing against the car I'd bought used, a beater Civic that hummed like freedom. She made me promise to watch out for you. But I couldn't. The debts, the pressure, it snowballed. Sirens wailed distant, closing in my final play. I'd tipped the sharks myself. A burner email with his location, painting him as the snitch who'd rolled on their boss to the feds for leniency on the car heist. Controversial? Hell yes. They weren't choir boys. But neither was he, a man who'd trade his sister's soul for a clear ledger. As their black SUVs screeched up, doors slamming like Judgment Day, Ethan bolted, splashing through puddles toward the alley. I didn't chase. Just stood there, rain soaking my blouse, the weight lifting like fog off the Hudson. But the twist? It hit like a freight train 2 weeks later. In a sterile Fed holding cell where they dragged him after the sharks roughed him up enough for a 911 call. He cut a deal, full confession on the car, the crash, even Mom's role. In exchange, immunity for me, and a slap on the wrist for her as an accessory after the fact. The feds played it like chess, use Ethan's testimony to nail the shark's bigger fish. Human trafficking rings masked as auto imports. My brother, the rat-turned hero? The headline screamed it, Wall Street whistleblower exposes mob car ring, while I seethed in anonymity. My revenge hijacked by the machine. Mom passed quietly in August, her last breath a rasp of, forgive him. Vivian. I didn't. Couldn't. But as Ethan walked free, community service, a TED Talk gig on redemption lined up, I stared at my reflection in the mirror of my new corner office, the prototype's successor gleaming in the lot below. Victory? Or just another layer of the con? Readers, you tell me, was I the avenger or the villain? Dismantling a monster only to birth my own? Blood don't lie, but damn if it doesn't twist the truth into knots. The fallout from that rainy showdown lingered like cigarette smoke in a dive bar, clinging to every corner of my life even as the city churned on, indifferent as ever. I threw myself into work at Apex Green, the Soho startup that had scooped me up post-scandal like I was yesterday's news. Electric bikes, solar chargers for urban fleets, stuff that felt clean, untainted by the grease of family betrayal. Morning started with oat milk lattes from the corner bodega, commutes on the F train where I'd eavesdrop on hedge fund bros griping about crypto dips. Their voices a reminder that Ethan's world wasn't the only snake pit in New York. But nights? They were mine for the scheming. I'd pace my one-bedroom in the East Village, exposed brick walls I'd painted matte black to match my mood, nursing cheap bourbon and plotting the next phase. Ethan's redemption arc was gaining steam. I'd seen the clips on CNBC. Him in a crisp button-down, hair slicked back, spinning yarns about hitting rock bottom and rising wiser. The audience ate it up, claps and nods from suits who'd probably stiff their own kin for a bonus. It made my skin crawl. Forgiveness is a luxury for the forgiven. For the rest of us, it's just another debt unpaid. The PI. Jax, ex-cop with a face like weathered leather and a Rolodex of grudges, became my shadow advisor. We met in greasy spoons off Delancey. Steam from pastrami sandwiches fogging the windows as he slid me dossiers. Your boy's slippery. Viv. Post-deal. He's cozying up to the DA's office, consulting on white-collar stings. Thinks it buffs his halo. Jax's laugh was gravel. But dig deeper. Those sharks? One of them's singing too. Points fingers at Ethan for tipping the feds on a side hustle. Ecstasy runs in EV shipments. Irony at its finest. My brother's hero play had ghosts of its own. I decided to stir the pot. Subtly. Of course, no direct hits. Just ripples that'd drown him slow. First leak. An op-ed to the Post. Anonymous. Painting Wall Street whistleblowers as rehabbed crooks chasing book deals. It quoted sources on Ethan's gambling relapses, veiled nods to the car scam. The piece went viral in finance Twitter circles. Memes of him as a cartoon weasel flooding my feed. He fired back on LinkedIn. A weepy post about trial by media and the cost of truth. Comments poured in, half pity, half pitchforks. Polarizing. Just like I wanted. Who was the real victim, the reformed brother or the sister he'd buried? Mom's funeral was the powder keg. St. Mary's in Queens, the same church where Dad's casket had sat empty after his accident. Overdose. They called it. But we knew better. Ethan's poker losses. Dad covering with his pension check. The pews creaked under aunts and uncles I hadn't seen since high school. Their whispers like dry leaves. Poor Ethan. Carrying the weight. Carrying? He dropped it on me like a hot coal. I sat in the back. Black dress hugging my frame like armor. Watching him at the podium, voice steady. Eulogizing her as the rock who taught us grace. Grace. The word stuck in my craw. After the graveside, dirt clumping on her simple pine box under a sky bruised purple, he approached, flanked by his handler from the DA's media team. Vivian. We need to talk. For her. His eyes. Bloodshot from grief or gin. Searched mine for absolution. I met them cold. Talk. Like you talked to the feds about me? Or the sharks about Mikey? He flinched, glancing at the suits pretending not to eavesdrop. That was survival. This, us, it's bigger. Mom left a letter. For both of us. The letter waited in his lawyer's office. Midtown Tower with views that mocked the little people below. We sat across a mahogany desk, Ethan fidgeting with his cufflinks, gold ones I'd gifted him for his 30th. Back when I believed in us. The envelope was cream stock. Her looping script faded. My darlings, if you're reading this, I've gone to rest. Ethan, forgive yourself for the wheel that night. Vivian. Release the will you hold now. We all spin in circles, but family stops the crash. Cryptic as hell. Laced with guilt like arsenic in tea. But tucked inside? A key to a safe deposit box in Flushing. Stuffed with yellow ducks, Dad's life insurance payout. Funneled through Mom to bail Ethan out of juvie threats post-crash. And my name? Forged as beneficiary. But rerouted to his tuition at Wharton. Betrayal squared. She played us both, me as the stooge. Him as the prince. She wanted you safe, he murmured. But his tone rang hollow. eyes darting to the door like he expected applause. I pocketed the key. Stood. Safe? You both turned me into the fall guy. Twice. Outside. The elevator hummed down, depositing us in the lobby's marble chill. What's your endgame? Viv? Ruin me? It'll boomerang. The DA's got my back now. He wasn't wrong. My leaks had drawn eyes. IRS audits on Apex for unreported assets. Whispers that my consulting fees tied back to Sterling's ghost. Paranoia set in. I started sleeping with a .38 under the pillow. Legal in New York if you jumped through hoops. Jax warned me off escalation. You're dancing on a ledge. Kid. One gust. And splat. But ledges are where the view's best. I went nuclear next. Contacted the shark snitch. A mid-level goon named Rico, doing time in Rikers. Bribe via Jax, canteen cash and contraband smokes for the full tape of Ethan's tip call. The one where he'd sold out their ecstasy ring for drop charges on the car. The audio hit dark web forums by Labor Day. Distorted voice but unmistakable cadence. Yeah. It's Ethan Caldwell. Your boy's moving product in Prius batteries. Cut me in or I sing. Chaos erupted. CNBC pulled his segments. The DA distanced with a review pending statement. Ethan called from an unknown number. Voice a wreck. You leaked it? Christ. Viv. They're coming for me. For real this time. Rain lashed the windows again as thunder rolled, mirroring that July night. Good, I said, and hung up. But doubt crept in, a sliver under the nail. Was I avenging Mikey? Or just mirroring the monster? The confrontation came unbidden. Halloween Eve in the village, costumed crowds spilling from bars. Witches and zombies oblivious to the real horror show. I was heading home from a client dinner, heels clicking on cobblestones, when his cab screeched up. He tumbled out, trench coat flapping like broken wings, reeking of scotch and desperation. Vivian, wait, please. The street pulsed around us. Jack-o'-lanterns grinning from stoops. But his face was the mask, gaunt, eyes hollowed by nights, without sleep. We ducked into an alley, away from the revelry. Graffiti walls closing in like jury box. It's over, he gasped, shoving a flash drive into my hand. Everything, crash footage. Mom's ledgers. Even the Saudi buy docs. Take it to the press. Bury me. His hands shook. Not from cold. But first. Understand. After Dad. I cracked. The trades. The bets, it was escape. You were always the strong one. Viv. I leaned too hard. Broke us both. Tears mixed with rain on his cheeks. And for a heartbeat, I saw the boy who'd shared comic books under the covers, plotting world domination with capes and crayons. The drive burned in my palm, truth serum. Or Trojan horse. Why now? I demanded, voice cracking despite myself. DA drop you? Shark's close. He laughed. Bitter bark. Both. And. Cancer. Stage 4. Docs give me 6 months. Mom's gene. Ironic, huh? I wanted clean slate. For you. The twist gutted me. Not the disease, though that hit like shrapnel, but the timing. Jax had sniffed no such diagnosis. Ethan's medicals showed clean. Bluff? Or final flip? Dragging me into pity's web? Sirens wailed closer. Not for us. But the alley felt like a trap snapping shut. Prove it, I snarled, thrusting the drive back. Hospital records. Or it's all noise. He nodded, vanishing into the throng like a ghost in the machine. I walked home numb, the city lights blurring to streaks, questioning every step. Revenge was supposed to clarify, not cloud. By dawn, emails pinged, anonymized files from his account, scans of chemo consents dated weeks back. Real. The polarization peaked in my gut. Who to root for now? The dying brother seeking absolution, or the sister who'd lit the fuse? November swept in like a cold front off the Atlantic, stripping the leaves from Washington Square Park and leaving me exposed, bare branches clawing at a slate sky that matched my mood. Ethan's confession drive sat on my desk like a loaded gun, its files a Pandora's box of absolution and accusation. I pored over them in the witching hours. Laptop glow the only light in my apartment. Coffee going cold as revelations piled up. The crash tape? Crystal. Ethan slurred apologies to Mikey seconds before impact. Tires screaming on wet asphalt. Mom's ledgers? Meticulous. Every diverted dollar a brick in his Wharton wall. My community service hours the mortar. But the cancer? That gnawed deepest. PET scans, oncologist notes from Sloan Kettering, undeniable. Aggressive lymphoma threading through his lymph nodes like kudzu. 6 months. Tops. Unless miracles peddled by Big Pharma intervened. It humanized him, that diagnosis, turning the wolf back into the lost boy. Or did it? Jax, over falafel in Astoria, shook his head at the printouts. Could be staged. Viv. Deepfakes are cheap now, docs forge for the right price. His cynicism was my anchor, but doubt was the tide pulling me under. The media frenzy peaked with a Times expose, from fraud to frontline, the double life of Ethan Caldwell, fed by leaks I hadn't touched. It painted him saint and sinner. Quotes from DA insiders praising his bravery against the sharks, countered by victim statements from chopped car owners, including Sterling's ghost haunting my inbox. Harlan, my old boss, reached out via LinkedIn, heard about the brother. Tough break. Doors open if you want to consult on the lawsuit. Schadenfreude or sympathy. In America, they're twins. Ethan's decline accelerated. Spotting him on the street became ritual, gaunt frame shuffling from chemo sessions to his Hell's Kitchen hole. For bruises blooming on arms once tanned from yacht decks. Mom's words echoed, release the wheel. But wheels turn both ways. I started visiting. Grudgingly. Bearing takeout from Junior's, cheesecake. Her favorite. Now his comfort in nausea waves. Our talks were minefields, silences heavy as lead, punctuated by his rasps. I see Mikey in dreams. Viv. Begging me to break. I'd nod. Throat tight. The .38 locked away, but its weight phantom in my pocket. The sharks didn't forget. Jax's contacts buzzed. Rico. The snitch. Shanked in Gen Pop over, debts unpaid. Retaliation. Whispers said. Ethan's name cursed in cell block lore. Paranoia peaked one foggy dawn, black SUV tailing my cab from Apex. Peeling off at a light like a shark testing waters. I upped security. Burner phones. Dead drops with Jax for updates. Ethan's calls turned pleading. They're watching you too. Sis. My mess. You're cross, let me fix it. Fix? Too late for that fairy tale. Climax crashed in December. Snow dusting the city like powdered sugar on a corpse. Apex holiday party at a loft in Tribeca. Eggnog flowing. Indie band crooning ironic carols about jingle bells and stolen wheels. I was mid-conversation with a venture scout, pitching solar rigs for delivery fleets, when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Video attachment. Ethan's face filled the screen. pale as milk, lips cracked. Viv, if you see this, it's done. Uploaded will. Everything to you, accounts. The Hamptons deed mom hid. Forgive?
Don't. Just.
Live.
Cut to black.
Timestamp an hour prior. Panic surged like bile. I bolted, heels skidding on slush-slick sidewalks. Cab be damned, Uber surged to hellfire prices. His building loomed, a sad sentinel on 10th Avenue. Doorman nodding me up with pity eyes. Door ajar. The apartment reeked of sickness and stale smoke, morphine vials scattered like confetti from a suicide parade. Ethan slumped in the tub, wrist slashed neat as a broker's margin call. Tub water pink-tinged, fading to clear. No pin to his shirt. Wheel's yours now.
E.
Sirens wailed as I knelt. Pulse hammering, too late. Always too late. Paramedics swarmed, pronouncing him at 11:47 p.m. Snowflakes melting on the sill like tears the sky forgot. Cops questioned me in the hall. Fluorescent buzz drilling my skull. Relationship? Motive? I spun the half-truths, estranged but reconciling. His illness the bridge.
Inside.
The drive's files burned in my bag. I smashed it later. Shards glittering like broken promises in the East River. The aftermath was a whirlwind of legalese and loss. While probate revealed the haul, $3 million in liquidated assets. Laundered clean through Mom's old trusts, the Hamptons cottage. Salt air escape I'd eyed as a kid. Media spun it tragic. Whistleblower's final act, suicide amid scandal shadows. Polarizing headlines, heroes despair versus karma's cruel close, splitting readers down aisles of empathy and eye rolls. Apex promoted me to partner. Harlan's lawsuit netting Sterling a settlement that padded my nest. Victory lap? Felt like trudging through mud. But the twist, the one that'd spark bar fights and Reddit wars, dropped Easter Sunday.
For months on.
Jack slid me a manila envelope over brunch in Park Slope. Autopsy addendum. Hushed by the me at Ethan's lawyer's nudge. No cancer. Scans faked. Bloodwork juiced with markers from a black market lab in Queens. The suicide? Staged overdose. Morphine spiked with fentanyl. Wrists nicked post-mortem for theater. Ethan's endgame? Insurance payout. Double indemnity for accidental death, funneled to an offshore ghost account. Last wire. To the shark's boss. A peace offering to vanish threats. With a kicker, my name on the beneficiary line. Collateral to ensure I'd inherit the heat if they came calling. He'd flipped one last time. Not for redemption but resurrection. New identity. Plastic surgery whispers from a clinic in Bogota.
The will a decoy to buy time.
My brother. The ultimate schemer. Trading death for a fresh start. Leaving me the bag lady of his sins. Cops couldn't touch it. Suicide ruled. No body to exhume without cause. I burned the addendum in my sink. Flames dancing like his ghost. The Hamptons deed now a haunted anchor. Do I hunt him? Leak the fraud? Drag his phantom through the mud? Or pocket the payout? Buy silence with solar panels and second chances? Readers, that's the debate. Was Ethan's sacrifice genius or gutless? My revenge a catalyst or complicity? In America's Grand Con, no one's clean, just players spinning wheels till the crash.
Me?
I stare at the Hudson from my new deck, waves whispering secrets, and wonder if blood ever really thins.